Hello, this is Tarregor. This video is a Twitch stream that was not edited, so it's gonna look like a Twitch stream. Welcome to my vision of World of Warcraft Classic Plus. The design direction of my vision of World of Warcraft Classic Plus is substantially different from that of retail WoW Surface Shadowlands and the private servers Vanilla Plus and Turtle WoW. This is partially because it aims to fix the game's many problems first, Vanilla WoW's many problems first, flush it out and polish it second, and add new content third. This is part of a playlist of videos. Check this video's description for a link to the playlist. The document displayed in my vision of Classic Plus. The document displayed is my vision of Classic Plus, and the document's version number is 1.5.15. All versions of this document are based upon patch 1.12.2 of WoW. If you just want to know about the general design direction of my vision of Classic Plus before you otherwise look into this, then watch the introductory video on this playlist, or view the document yourself and look at the list of major features. The link to the document is in my channel's About page. That, and I do not have a team of people working with me, however, to make an actual private server out of this. This is all pure design thus far, and it ain't done yet. These display changes made to Blackrock's Spire do not concern what drops from Blackrock's Spire, nor things such as NPC hit points, NPC damage, or NPC pathfinding, nor quest changes. Those are covered in different parts of this document that I'll be covering in different videos. However, it is still worth briefly mentioning that elite NPCs in general, and not just in dungeons, are going to hit a lot harder and have a lot more hit points, and they'll be able to run up 180-degree slopes, so walls, to chase players around without evade bugging. It is also worth mentioning that almost every damaging and crowd controlling AoE spell, item, and buff available to players was nerfed to have a hard target cap, a la Thunderclap, Whirlwind, and War Stomp of 6 targets per spellcast or tick. Furthermore, all elite mobs in the game were buffs that movement speed slows have a lesser effect against them, by which they do not mean a lower duration or a chance to resist the debuffs. Because of these changes and other changes, you will not be able to successfully do any spell cleaving or melee cleaving, and unless you sorely outlevel the dungeon, you will not be able to AoE farm it either. In this case, you're not going to outlevel the dungeon. Well, raid, really. You should expect to actually use marks in dungeons, and we're going to take it to actually use a shield if you ain't a druid. Now then, onto these specific changes made to Blackrock Spire. Upper Blackrock Spire will be turned into a level 58 to 60 20-man raid. The parts of Ubers before and including Red Blackhand, and including the part before the door opened by Seal of Ascension, will also be a 20-man raid, unlike the 5-man dungeon that it essentially was in Vanilla Classic. That is, Classic not Plus. In order to prevent Lower Blackrock Spire, I like calling it Elbers, from being trivialized for bringing 10 more people than you need to clear the raid, Elbers will also be turned into a level 58 to 60 20-man raid. And it'll be just as hard as Zoomers. In order to cause people to kill most of the Firebrand Orcs and Elbers when they do Elbers, a new non-rare boss will be added to Elbers. It's a mage of the Firebrand Legion. This mage resides near the large pile of rubble that separates a camp of Firebrand Orcs from the rest of them on the side that contains most of the Firebrand Orcs. To increase the difficulty of the Molten Core and of Veiled Strauss and Corrupt, the spell Resist Fire, known by Spark Shield Spellbinders, will only last for 1 minute. Pyroguard Emberseer will have 1000 mana burn damage added to his melee attacks, so make sure you don't use the shaman to tank him. This is done so that raids do not use the 2-hand tank enhancement shaman to tank the boss over a 1-hand plus shield tank enhancement shaman. Though this also prevents 1-hand plus shield enhancement shamans from tanking them, which works out since you can get a Bearer Warrior to do it anyway. In order to prevent exploits, when the first wave of the Red Blackhand event is triggered, Nefarian will teleport all players and their minions in the entire instance into the arena near the gate that the mobs come from, and the other gate will be shut, and the entrance to Upper Blackrock Spire will be closed until the event is over. The door cannot be opened by the Seal of Ascension during the event. Reopened. The Red Blackhand counter will be redesigned to be unbeatable without Veilstrauss' help. Gift will inflict a rate of some sort of terrible debuff, functionality to be determined, upon being aggroed, which can be cleansed only by dying or by Veilstrauss. However, if someone's ring is activated while Veilstraws is already present, then nothing will happen. This is to prevent Veilstraws from making the event be too easy by making you require him to beat the event. Do understand that the seal event session, when it is completed, can be activated during the Red Blackhand event. That is, you can click on the ring while you have it equipped, and it'll summon Veilstraws. Anyway, next one. Shadowhunter Vosh Gajan moved the candles in her room so that you can't do candle skip anymore. And her Curse of Blood will be renamed to Hex of Blood because thematics. She's not a warlock or some shit. She's a Shadowhunter. She uses voodoo, not fel magic. It's completely different. Blackhand Dread Reavers and their summon variants will know Goldon's Wrath, which is just a renamed Death Coil, instead of Veil of Death, formerly named Veil of Shadow. They do not have access to death magic. They are not necromancers. Smolderthorn Shadowhunters will no longer know Backstab, Gouge, or Kick. They'll instead know Serpent Ward, Hex Weakness 5 or 6, and Power Word Pain, formerly Shadow Word Pain. Shadowhunters are not rogues. For your information, Shadowhunters know Voodoo and Void. Shadowhunters know Voodoo Magic and Void Magic and Spirit Magic, according to Warcraft 3. Smolderthorn Witch Doctor's Elemental Protection totem will be renamed to Ward of Protection, and their Flame Buffet totem will be replaced with Serpent Ward. Witch Doctors are not shamans. Shamans do not know Voodoo. Witch Doctors do. Voodoo is completely different than elemental magic. That's all changes to Blackrock Spire so far. Thanks for watching.